This is Advanced Music Theory, and we're going to be doing an ear training exercise today. So we're going to mix things up. We've been working a lot with staff recognition and keyboard recognition, and I want us to switch our focus now to the ear, because training your ear is super important to being a good musician. The better you can recognize musical elements just by ear, the more successful you're going to be, and not only understanding the concepts but putting them into practice. So ear training is a super important part of music theory, one that like all of the music teachers at my Cincinnati have put a great deal of work in. So it's very, very important. So luckily, musictheory.net has a section on ear training that we're going to play around with. And it's going to be under the exercises session. Near the end of that page, we're going to have ear training. Now, I know in our lessons lately we've been learning about chords and triads, but I actually want to start our ear training for that with interval ear training. Even though there is a chord ear training, it's better to start with intervals, because just learning the distances between two notes is going to set us up well for learning the distances between three or more notes when we do chords. So interval ear training is like essential to recognize chords by ear very well. So we're going to start with that. So let's go to interval ear training. And let's check the settings real quick just to make sure that the exercise is not giving us anything that we haven't worked on yet. So for the intervals, we're going to keep everything between the unison and the octave. We're going to leave things bigger than the octave out for now, because we have not talked about those. And those aren't going to be as useful for chord recognition at first. So the play mode, let's choose the notes played one at a time and then together, because I think it's useful to hear them simultaneously as well. That's going to help us with chord ear training later. And we're going to keep the range from C3 to C5. So that's going to be 2 octaves. And I've pulled up the pop-up keyboard that's available in musictheory.net. It's right here. You see that's C3 to C5, and C4 is middle C, remember? It's going to be right in the middle. Okay, so we have all our settings. Let's go to the exercise. But before we get started, I actually want to just give us a quick reminder of the intervals of what they sound like. So let's start with the unison. The unison is simple. It's the distance between two notes that are exactly the same pitch. Not the same letter name, but the same pitch itself. So the distance between C4 and C4 is the unison. Okay? So they're exactly the same note. Same thing, G4 and G4, that's also the unison. Okay? Now, as we add half steps and half steps, we're going to go up the interval list all the way to the octave. So this is how it's going to work. 1 half step or 1 semitone is going to be the minor second. Major second is going to be a whole step or 2 semitones. So you see 1, 2 half steps or 2 semitones. Major second is going to be, oh sorry, I already did major second. Minor third is 1, 2, 3 half steps. Major third is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 half steps. The next one is going to be the perfect fourth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 half steps. The next one is the tritone. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 half steps or 6 semitones. By the way, the tritone is the moment that splits up the octave exactly in half. This is the moment in the octave that, because remember that an octave is 12 semitones or 12 half steps. So 6 is the moment that cuts the octave exactly in half. Moving on to the perfect fifth, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 semitones. And then minor sixth, major sixth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 half steps, major sixth, and then minor seven, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 semitones, and finally major seventh, 11 semitones, and then the octave, 12 semitones. Okay, just a quick reminder before we get started. So, as you can see, I pulled up the keyboard for a good reason, not only to show you guys the intervals, but because if you are not sure how to go about like ear training at first, because you're not sure your ear, you're just starting to like develop your ear, using the keyboard is a great way to help yourself along the way, because the keyboard has absolute tuning. You know, this C is never going to change, whereas, you know, string instruments, we can adjust the intonation and it can get a little bit trickier, because if you play out of tune, then all of a sudden you're training your ear maybe with not the perfect pitch. So the keyboard can never really, like, you know, you can never go wrong with the keyboard, which is that's why ear training is really, really good when you work with the piano or any kind of keyboard instrument. So let's try a couple of these. So let's see, it's gonna play them one at a time and then together. One more time. So that's bum bum. So you can go about this two ways, two main ways. There are more ways, but the ways that I like to go about it is, first, you can use the keyboard to try to find the pitches if you're not really sure what the interval sounds like, and then you can count the semitones and figure out what interval that is. So let's try that. I mean, it takes a little bit of time, but that's a way to be really sure. So ba, ba, ba. Let's find that pitch. Do, si, la. I think that's the bottom note. Cool. So A. So that was A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think the second note was here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's play them and then let's listen back and see if that makes sense. Let's hear that. That's right. Okay, so that was correct. So now we have A and C sharp. Let's figure out how many half steps that is. 1, 2, 3, 4. When you're counting half steps or semitones, very important, count the first note as 0, because you want to start counting when you've moved on to the next half step. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4 semitones. And if you remember what we talked about, that 4 semitones is a major third. So let's go ahead and click that. That was right. So we have another interval here. And let's figure it out. We're going to do another one with the keyboard and then 2 exercises with singing. So let's try the keyboard again. I think that's our bottom note. Let's play it. Yep. Cool. So we had, let's see if we can find the top note. That sounds like what the exercise played. All right, so I think that was right. Now, the cool thing about this interval, if you haven't already figured it out, is that we're going from E to the same key at higher, so from E to E. And if you know anything about the way that the music alphabet works, when you go around from one letter name to the next one, once we've gone around all the way through, that's an octave. In this case, both of these are E naturals, so we know that's an octave. If it had been E flat, we'd have a different interval. So just be careful. It's not just the letter name, but the whether it's natural, sharp, or flat matters too. So it's not the same this octave from this octave. Okay, so that was the octave. Let's just listen again just to be sure. Cool. So the octave, it's going to be one of those intervals that you're going to be able to recognize by ear very quickly because it sounds like it's almost the same note. All right, so for the next two versions of the exercise, I'm going to try it by singing. That way we get a true sense of the ear training and we don't need to worry about finding the bottom pitch and the top pitch and then counting semitones. Let's just listen and sing and see if we can sing half steps until we get it. So that was la 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 la. So let's see. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, 7. That sounds like those are exactly the notes, and 7 semitones is a perfect fifth. Okay, let's try another one. So that's la po la la da 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 da. So I think that was almost the octave, but not quite. Let me count one more time. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's right. It was 11 semitones, so that's going to be your major seventh. Let's do one last one. So that was na na. So that's oh, 1, 2, 3, oh, 3, oh, 3. Okay, I think that's right. So 3 semitones is a minor third. Okay, cool. So I just showed you guys how to do it quickly, but you know, I have a lot of practice doing this. So I want you guys now to take some time doing these exercises by yourselves and don't try to just guess at it you know, like just first thing you hear. Like, you know, try to really think about it and take your time figuring this out because the more you pay attention and the more you do this carefully, the better you're going to train your ear. And the quicker you will ultimately learn how to identify intervals without really thinking too much about it. Eventually, you'll get to the point where you can hear it once and know exactly what they are and not even have to question it because the intervals are going to have very specific sounds that are going to be instantly recognizable to you. So spend some time with these exercises. Do it as much as you want. The more you practice this, the better you're gonna get. All right, see you guys in another video later.